There now follows a party political broadcast on behalf of the Labour Party.
Okay, so what is the Warwick Agreement? 56 points, negotiated between the trade unions and the Labour government that, if elected for a third term, they will deliver. It's an agreement between us. It's there and it's been negotiated around points and issues that you made clear to us in our surveys you felt were important issues. Job security and pensions. There is issues about government procurement, about shoring up UK workers, about better protecting UK jobs. There are issues about pensions. No longer will it be the case that pensions are not covered if your company is taken over, where pension schemes in the past have been stripped or lost. Covered now by the 2P regulations. There is also, in the event that the pension scheme goes bust, protection as a result, again, of our agreement and our campaigning. There is family-friendly policies, increased childcare, increased maternity leave, passing that on to fathers as well as mothers. A whole range which, taken together, form a very significant advance, social advance for working people. But it's only a start, and it can only be delivered if Labour are returned for a third term. We're able with these discussions, such as the Warwick discussions, to meet with government and to use our influence on your behalf to deliver those issues, again, that you found so important to tell us what needed to be done. This would not be possible with a Conservative government. Experience has shown that the door to Downing Street is very firmly closed in the face of trade unions when the Tories are in power. With Labour, albeit that people often think that Labour does not listen, we've proven through Warwick that that is simply not the case. We can and do talk to government, we can and do have influence with government. The situation in front of us now in this election is a choice. This is not a referendum about this or that issue that we may feel passionately about, and there are a number of those that individuals could raise of concern. This is really a choice between a right-wing Tory government, a fifth Thatcher term, as opposed to a third Labour term. We believe it's crucial that you, on this occasion, do not regard this election as a referendum, but recognise the choice between two quite conflicting governments. A way forward, forward to the future with Labour, not forward to the past with the Conservatives.
That as long as there is a Labour government, and as long as I'm the Finance Minister for that Labour government, our first and foremost goal will remain full employment, not just in some regions of the country, but full employment in every region and nation of the country. And that's why the industrial strategy that we want to adopt over these next few years, of course it's got to be different because the world is changing around us. But I believe by building modern manufacturing strength, by looking, as Derek has often argued, to make sure there is a level playing field across Europe, by investing in skills and apprenticeships, particularly ensuring that every young person has the chance to get the skills that are necessary for the future, by building education, including the trade union colleges, including the learning centres, including the new proposal for a trades union university, we can build in this country modern manufacturing strength for the future, and we can be able to say to every worker in the country, yes, we cannot promise there will be no change, but you can be promised that under a Labour government, we will move further and faster over these next few years to create full employment in our country. So we will have at the coming election a policy for the future and not simply stand on our record. That policy will be about skills and training. It will be about science, research and development and the investment that Amicus has called for in manufacturing. It will be about lifelong learning, and it will be a determination that we in this generation can move further and faster to full employment. For today's pensioners, we have created for the first time a winter allowance that is worth £300 for most pensioners in this pensioner households in this country. Free television licenses for the over 75s. We've created a new pension credit that means for the first time that widows in their 70s and 80s who didn't have proper provision from their husbands or themselves for their pensions and had little savings are guaranteed a minimum income in this country. It is now a pension credit that goes up the income scale so that many people who used to say, I get nothing, I'm a pensioner because I've got some savings, get the pension credit now. We have just recently created a pension protection board, and that means that we will get away from these old situations when a firm went bust, the pension fund went bust, and the worker not only lost his job or her job, but they lost their pension entitlement too. And that pension protection fund is being created now, and it is being financed by levies from employers as well as from money from the government. And not only have we done that, we have said we understand retrospectively that there are many people who lost their pension entitlement unfairly over these last few years, and we put aside £400 million for the next few years so that people who lost their pension protection before this new board came in have protection in the future. Just remember one figure in the story the Conservative Party are telling you, and the figure is £35 billion. It's not our allegation, it's the admission of Oliver Letwin, the Conservative Shadow Chancellor, that £35 billion of cuts is what the Tories plan. Now, 35 billion can just be a figure, but I tell you, it is the equivalent of sacking every teacher and every doctor and then sacking every nurse in the National Health Service. You could sack every civil servant in Britain and you'd still have to find 20 billion of cuts. And make no mistake about it, if they were, as Derek says, to slip in, as people sleepwalked into this election, if they were to slip into number 10 Downing Street, then 35 billion of cuts would affect education, it would affect industry, and it would affect, most of all, the National Health Service. And so that is the real divide now between Labour and the Conservatives on the health service. We believe in a health service that is based on need. They will have a health service where you got health care based on your ability to pay these fees for operations. International aid and the relief of poverty, full employment here at home, better public services free at the point of need, an industry policy that can bring us to full employment and skills for every young person in this country, and a health service and an education service we can be proud of. Now, these are the issues. Let's work together in partnership. So not only do we win a third-term victory, we show that our values are the values of the British people.
For more information about James Alexander and the Labour Party, please visit www.time-for-change.org.uk.